Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, Auburn's premier home for student-run radio since 1971. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside my color man, Davis Carroll, and the always fun Daniel Locke. On this Thursday morning, we'd like to welcome in our listeners and viewers from the Auburn-Opelika Megaplex and around the world. However you may be joining us today, whether that be for your terrestrial radio antenna, through the information superhighway at weglfm.com, or tuning in after the fact on transistor.fm, Eagle Eye TV, or listening to our podcast, we are happy to have you here in the booth with us for Auburn's only student-run drive time morning show. And now, as always, we are broadcasting live from the Bradley Basin WEGL studios here in the Harold Melton Student Center on the campus of Auburn University, where it is 50 degrees and drizzly outside this Thursday morning in November. Welcome to Compact Discourse. We wish you a most sincere good morning as we get on with the show today. Davis, how are you feeling? Stay dry?
It started raining like right when I was getting here, which I was surprised by happening. It's like the Pacific Northwest out there right now.
It really is. It's a bit brutal with the cold and the rain out there right now. So I'm glad to be inside the studio and warm at this present moment. And Daniel, same for you.
Yeah, it rained on me a little bit when I was waiting for Tiger Transit, but got here nice and dry, nice and warm. Looking forward to a great show.
As we all are. So at this point, I would like to remind that our audience, if at any point in the next 2 hours, you feel so inclined to ask us a question, drop us a hot take, or in the highly unlikely event that we get something wrong, if you would like to correct us, you can go ahead and call in at 334-844-9345. That's 334-844-WEGL on your touchtone keypad. You can also send us a tweet at CDiscAU. That's at CDISCAU. We would love to hear from you, and our dedicated team of call screeners will handle your inquiry. And with that, we will get into the show, where we have to hit our first break here in a few minutes, and we'll just recount the events of the day and wonder how everybody's doing today. I know, Davis, we watched a film yesterday.
We did. Watched Interstellar by Christopher Nolan. What were your thoughts after seeing it? That was your second time seeing it.
That was my second time seeing it. I quite enjoy Interstellar. It's a very pretty movie. It also, I can really appreciate the realism. I think they went all in on trying to make it as accurate as possible. And I mean, even if you take the movie at face value, it's great, but the more reading you do, whether that's the companion book that explains all the science, or I just going on the Interstellar wiki, and I was trying to find out another piece of information, and I just kept stumbling across more and more pieces of information that are not even, I mean, if you had included all of it, the movie would have been, 6 hours long. So just the stuff they had to leave out, but are still, completely true in the world. So I find it endlessly fascinating. I just can't imagine the amount of man hours that got poured into that movie to make the final product that ended up being created.
Yeah, and they didn't really build much otherwise besides what's in the movie. They don't have a ton of lore about the rest of the world. What you see in the movie is really the lore of the universe, because it's not going to be a franchise, just the one movie. And I think Kip Thorne did a good job of getting all the science right, come up with good ideas of what the movie should be amazing job of implementing it, in my opinion. It's my favorite space movie. It's the most realistic space movie, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Maybe The Martian might be up there. Might beat it out, because you obviously can't survive going into a black hole. But otherwise, that's my favorite space movie.
I enjoyed it a great deal. And why did we watch it again?
Next week, we are doing Interstellar on Through the Lens, or
Okay.
Behind the Bushes, whatever. What's the prepositional phrase?
That's the one. So, excited about that. What did you do this week?
We did Dune. I got to write an article about that still.
Dune. The new one or the old one?
Both, technically.
Both.
But I'm going to write an article about a review for the new one.
Interesting. Did you enjoy Dune?
I did. Not the old one. The old one was so boring. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But the new one, I was enthralled throughout 95% of it. The last 5%, it kind of slowed down and lost me. So I'll probably give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. Spoiler.
Interesting. Well, I'm interested to see this new Dune film. I might
Very good.
might have to check it out.
I want to see it in IMAX. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like it'd be quite the experience like that.
Is it a pretty visceral?
It's made for IMAX technically, so
Okay.
watching it on the home TV is not an issue. But since it's made for IMAX, I would like to be able to experience it in the way it was intended. But
I see.
only IMAX theater near here is Columbus, and I don't feel like driving to Columbus to see it.
Fair enough. Daniel, what have you gotten up to since last we spoke?
Well, obviously we did some celebrating. Big World Series win for us. Very,
course.
very fun. Still recovering from that. Tuesday night was quite the party.
Yes, it was.
Still trying to catch up on sleep since I did not go to sleep that night. I went to Dick's and camped out, which I really did not need to do since I just walked in. So I feel kind of silly about that. But, you know, you
Live
live
and
and you
learn.
learn. You live
Yeah.
and you learn.
Exactly.
But, yeah, go Braves. Chop on.
Chop on. Happy to hear that. And yeah, so I'm glad you were the first person, one of the first people in Auburn to get your hands on that championship shirt.
Thank you. It means a lot to me.
You'll be able to cherish that.
Forever.
That's right. All right. So we got a lot to get to later on in the show today. We'll probably talk about the new college football playoff rankings that came out on Tuesday night. But there are some other things to get to as well. We got Uniform Factor coming up at 8:30 with Bay Marks, so get excited for that. There's, I know we teased it a little bit earlier in the week by talking about those NBA City Edition jerseys. I believe the first team to wear them has actually has already happened. The Indiana Pacers wore them last night, so we will see how they looked in game, and a whole lot more on Uniform Factor. That's coming up at 8:30, and on WEGL today. Of course, after Compact Discourse, we have our 2 hours of rock music, as always, followed by Birds Aren't Real, a great show by Rio, a music conspiracy theory show that comes out at noon. And then you got the Beat Drop at 1, followed by 2 hours of sports with the Scoreboard and the Eagle's Nest with Bay, Jacob, and Daniel, respectively. Then you got Life at 33 RPM, which is a great classic music show. That's at 5 p.m. You got Walker Green's show at 6. And then closing out the night on WEGL, we got Moonlight Madness to the last little gasp of sports before we hit the weekend tomorrow. So 7 p.m., that's Moonlight Madness. You can keep the dial right here on WEGL from 12 to 8 today and hear 8 different awesome shows here on the WEGL FM 91 Superstation. So we are excited for all of those and a whole lot more. We're going to head to a quick break. When we come back, more of the show and getting excited for Uniform Factor coming up at 8:30. So do not go anywhere. I'm Jack Carr, joined alongside Daniel Locke and Davis Carroll, hanging out with you on this 4th day of November in the year 2021. It's raining outside, so I hope wherever you are staying warm and keeping dry. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes for the rest of the show.
These are the moments you remember.
The kick is good! Auburn wins!
These are the sounds you celebrate.
Fastball driven, deep left center field! David Ross, you have company!
Whether it's the stadium, the arena, or the ballpark.
Auburn 75, Kentucky 70. I think I'll storm the court. There goes Davis! Oh my God!
Your home for Auburn sports is the Auburn Sports Network.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
Here's farmer and landowner John Prue.
We purchased the land about 3 years ago, and there was an old farmstead on there with trees. We were going to clear the land so we could farm through it. We thought we knew where the pipe was, so we didn't call to get it located. The work on our property led to the damage of a light crude pipeline. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it could have been much worse.
Never assume the location or depth of underground lines. Always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com before you start work. A message from the Pipeline Operators for Ag Safety campaign.
Fire threatens everything in its path. When it threatens our nation and our communities, we respond. We bring the fight to the front line. The Army National Guard stands ready to face the dangers of Mother Nature and protect our homes and our neighbors. We will always be there when your community needs us the most. Discover more about all the ways you can serve part-time in your community by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Alabama's companies know people need to feel safe at work. That's why Alabama Works has partnered with agencies across the state to provide access to everything from CDC guidelines to the latest in on-the-job safety innovations. At alabamaworks.com, you're one click away from what you need to know to get to work safely. Work safe, be safe. Your new success story is at alabamaworks.com.
Sponsored by Alabama Works, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Alabama veterans. Are you aware that because of your military service, you may have earned VA benefits? The Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs can help you access those benefits at no cost to you, even during COVID-19 when other resources might be hard to find. The Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs has an office near you. For more information, go to va.alabama.gov or give us a call at 334-242-5077. We're open and ready to serve you. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs, the ABA, and this station.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I am your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Daniel Locke and Davis Carroll, welcoming in special guest Bay Marks into the studio for today. As I'll switch over to our 4-box and point the camera at him. Wha-bam. There he is. For those of you watching on our YouTube live stream, hope you caught that visual gag. Otherwise, made for a great radio moment. All right, we are excited about Auburn Stages tonight here on the show. This is pretty much the coolest event on campus, and it is happening once again tonight. It is with Adam Linhard, who is a awesome performer. I've seen him at a couple open mic nights. He stopped by our table on the concourse yesterday, and he's going to be performing live tonight, November 4th, on the Upper Quad lawn this afternoon. Go to WEGL_AU on Instagram for all of the additional information on that. That is, of course, Auburn Stages, brought to you by WEGL 91.1 and the College of Architecture and Design, who built those awesome stages. We got a solo act tonight, Adam Linhard. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we are excited for it. All right, Bay, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Staying warm? Staying dry?
I'm trying. Well, it's a good thing that I do listen to the only drive-by radio show in the mornings here in the Auburn and Blackett area, because Compact Discourse informed me when I was leaving my house this morning that it was drizzling. So before I walked out my front door, I turned around, grabbed this little nifty Columbia jacket behind me. So I appreciate that little weather update at the top of the hour.
Of course, we serve a simple role here, so I'm glad you're taking advantage of it. So I think we're going to hit uniform factor at 8:30, but before then, I would like to talk with Daniel and Bay about these new college football playoff rankings, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the Roadrunners, I guess, as there are some big mix-ups and interesting takes by the playoff committee, and I want to see what you guys think about what the direction the playoff is and how much longer it can sustain the 4-team format with a committee making decisions like this.
I've just got one comment to open it up. Why on God's green earth is Mississippi State 17?
The only reason I can think is the 3 wins against top 25 teams. But I think the biggest thing with these the initial rankings that have came out this season is we've had controversial rankings come out, the first college football rankings every year in its 7-year history. But this year's was probably the most controversial of the first poll we've had in a while. And I've been kind of on the side of the fence of the playoff should not expand. I'd say past 8 or 12 teams. I think 16 is way too large.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might be a good time, especially with the way that these rankings have come out and the way that the fans have reacted to this. I think it'd be good marketing, and I think it'd be good for college football if we did start truly exploring plans to go to an 8, 10, or 12 playoff system based off of these first rankings.
I would say so, and I think you're seeing that. I think the biggest storyline is the fact that Cincinnati was sitting at 2 in the AP poll for a good deal since Iowa lost a few weeks ago. And unlike UCF, who was trying to break into the poll and get to the playoff from the outside looking in, Cincinnati began from the inside after they had a great season, a New Year's Six season last year. And the playoff committee kind of shunted them back down to 6th position and is going to keep them out of the playoffs if the season were to end today.
Well, and another interesting thing, and I don't know who it was make this take on their podcast, but Wake Forest being at 9, they prompted the question of if they had a big tiger paw as their logo and they were purple and orange as their colors and their name were the Clemson Tigers, would they be sitting at 9 right now? Because they said they made the point of the fact that Clemson beats up on these same teams every year that Wake Forest is beating right now, yet Wake Forest is not getting the recognition that they deserve, unlike Clemson did in the previous 6 or 7 years that they've been in the playoffs. So I think that's an interesting thing as well, is people doubting Wake Forest and still putting them back there at 9.
I would say so, and I think, keeping Wake Forest at 9, despite having the precedent of all these one-loss teams, and I mean, you have 2 one-loss teams in the top 4, just because, Alabama, I think it's because they think that the A&M loss is quality, considering how highly they've ranked A&M. And then Oregon, I don't even know where to begin with that, considering their losses to a terrible Stanford team.
Yeah, and I think it speaks a lot of volume, too, to the fact that, Michigan State's at 3, and they haven't lost a game. Now, granted, all they've really played so far this year is Michigan, so I'll give them that and that win. And Bama's played more ranked opponents, but still, I think it speaks to the volume of what kind of teams Bama's playing versus Oregon, but also the fact that you have Ohio State at 5, who since that Oregon game has only been trending upward, and Oregon is on the opposite end of the spectrum. They've only been trending downward.
Yeah, and then you have the decision to put Oklahoma at 8, I think, shows there's at least some sanity in the playoff committee. They realize that, just like Cincinnati could barely beat Tulane, let's not forget that Oklahoma was in that same position in weeks 1 or 2. So I think Oklahoma at 8 is a smart move. But I just don't know where to gauge how they're ranking the conferences differently from one another. I mean, you have those three Big 12 teams, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Baylor, in the mix, and none of them can break the top 5.
You think Auburn and A&M at 13 and 14 might be a little intentional, considering the week these rankings come out?
They were there in the AP poll as well. They just flipped them around.
Yeah.
So I think they might have just copied the homework there a little bit. But I do not understand Mississippi State at 17. I do not think Mississippi State is one point of separation away from Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes to the fact that they beat NC State, who right now is 19, so that's still a quality win. They beat Kentucky, who Kentucky is still ranked at 2 losses. They've only lost to Georgia and Mississippi State, who's a ranked team. I think it shows more so potential than it does of what they've done. I think they're looking at the Bulldogs and thinking for the remainder of their schedule, they can do more than what they've already done. So that's kind of my thought process with it. But I agree with Daniel and you, Jack. I don't agree with it at all.
I mean, I don't see any other team that's lost by 40 to break the top 20,
Yeah.
Or who only beat Louisiana Tech off of a missed field goal and then celebrated like they had just won the SEC West.
Tough scene. All right, well, I'm glad that we were able to get your opinion on the college football playoff rankings. I'm sure you and Hillman will be talking about them later today on the scoreboard. And Daniel, you on the Eagles Nest as well. So tune in to WEGL this afternoon if you want more of your sports fix. We're going to hit a break a little early so we can come back on time and get right into Uniform Factor. We'll be talking about those Indiana Pacers City Edition uniforms to kick things off. They were the first ones we've seen on the court as they wore them in their game last night. So we're excited about that as they took down the New York Knicks 111-98. When we come back, we'll have Uniform Factor, we'll have the weather, and we'll have a whole lot more. So keep it right here on WEGL 91.1 FM and WeagleFM.com to hear more of Compact Discourse right here. I'm Jack, joined alongside Daniel, Davis, and Bay. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
If you've been working, you've already proven yourself in ways you may not even notice. Managing your time, communicating effectively, and working as part of a team are key skills that employers value. At alabamaworks.com, you can find out how to build on your experience to up your game and get the job you really want because it's out there. Start your new success story at alabamaworks.com.
Sponsored by Alabama Works, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
They really appreciate what she's done as a sister as well as a soldier and, supporting their country.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join.
Family members that are soldiers in the Army National Guard inspire and influence, setting a path for others.
It's validating knowing that, I kind of did my part to make sure this is what they actually wanted and that they feel the same way I do. I'm really proud that we get to help shape the future, and I know that my sisters are going to be amazing soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in.
A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving their country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Watch out for people riding bikes. It's not just courteous, now it's the law. The new 3 Feet for Safety Act requires that drivers give at least 3 feet of space when passing bicyclists. More and more people are commuting and touring Alabama on bicycles. As the number of cyclists on our roads increases, so does the need for safe driving. So slow down and give cyclists 3 feet of room. Follow the rules of the road and watch out for each other. Learn more at drivesafealabama.org. Sponsored by ALDOT, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM and WEGLFM.com. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Bay Marks, Daniel Locke, and Davis Carroll, hanging out with you on a Thursday morning. And, of course, it is the bottom of the hour, 8:30 a.m. So we are going to hit your Auburn, Alabama weather report. We'll get right into that. Simple weather report this morning. It is 50 degrees and cloudy. Clouds are blowing away towards the east, so this 56% chance of rain that we are dealing with is going to reduce itself through as we get to the afternoon, but the clouds will remain overhead, so it should stay nice and cool today. 51 is your temp right now. It'll be 57 this afternoon, moving over to an overnight temp of 48 degrees, cooling down from 50 in the evening. The sun is going to set at 5:48 p.m. and there's going to be a little bit of wind as the leaves continue to shake off the trees. The low today is 46, so it's going to be nice and cool with it was pretty warm in the sun yesterday if you were sitting out in that on the concourse like I was, but with no sunshine today, it will be nice and chilly here on the plains. And that was your Auburn weather update. We'll be back in an hour with another one. Auburn weather. And with that, we are going to jump into the main event. It is, of course, Uniform Factor, so we'll just not waste any more time. We'll get right into it.
Now, form factor is a term I learned in my occupational safety and ergonomics class.
Does powder blue ever look bad, ever?
Absolutely not.
I can't name one team.
That's the worst helmet I've ever seen.
I mean, part of the fun of throwbacks is that we're all in on the joke that they look terrible.
Bird is awful, but the jerseys themselves are sick.
Dude, this is clean, man.
Hey, when they rocking these?
Any thoughts on this Browns-Broncos matchup, Carter?
The game itself?
The uniforms. That's right, and we will jump right in today. I do want to remind everybody that we are providing some visual aids on the screen for the YouTube live stream viewers. So if you are so inclined, you can head on over to YouTube and search for WEGL 91.1 FM. Click on the orange and blue eagle logo, and you will be able to watch whatever we are watching here in the studio. If you're driving around in your car, please be safe and save it for later. And you can always come back and watch Uniform Factor on YouTube absolutely anytime you want by going to the WGL YouTube page and watching the video on demand. So hope we're doing a good enough job of describing it for all of our audio listeners out there. All right, we're going to jump right in. We're going to start off, like I said, with those Indiana Pacers City Edition uniforms. Now, all these NBA City Edition uniforms are new for the 2021-2022 season. They released all 30 of them earlier this week, all the same night. They dropped them all. And Chris Creamer over at sportslogos.net pretty much dropped everything he was doing to make an in-depth breakdown of literally every single one of them. These are the theme for these is a remix type of jersey to celebrate the NBA's 75th anniversary. They are taking elements of every previous jersey that a franchise has had in the past, or at least the most iconic ones, and kind of throwing them all in a blender and remixing them into a new look for the team. And the Indiana Pacers are no exception. I believe this is the first one to be worn on the court, which is actually a pretty quick turnaround from being announced on Monday to being worn on Wednesday night. So the Indiana Pacers were wearing these in their game against the New York Knicks last night, and they ended up winning that game. So these are pretty cool, and I'll talk about the details. We have the Pacers script, the kind of racing stripe evocative script on a yellow field that kind of extends down in the sash type pattern on the blue, primarily blue jersey. You've also got the element of that is from the 90s when the Pacers used to have the kind of triangular pattern on the sides of their jerseys. You've also got the blue shorts with the new Indiana Pacers logo combined with the old Indiana Pacers logo, which kind of looks like a hand holding a basketball to make a P, and then combine that with the new fast-moving Indiana Pacers flying P logo, and you get a brand new logo. So we've seen a lot of brand new logos in this set as they've been combining old and new logos together, and these come together for a pretty good-looking kit, if I do say so myself.
I would say that the thing that I enjoy the most about them is, like you said, Jack, they have that sash that starts on the right side of the chest, and then as it moves towards the left side of the body, it gradually gets bigger, and then it doesn't stop there because when you're looking at the shorts, on the right side of the shorts, you don't really have that kind of sash pattern because it does have that logo that you mentioned, but the sash continues onto the left side of the leg, on the outer portion of the leg, so it's almost like that sash is continuing down the body, so I really like these. I really like what they did with the Pacers across the chest as well and the number font. I think they flow very well together and give that kind of quick sort of feel towards them. But I really like these, and I'd probably give them at least like a 9 out of 10. I mean, I truly like these, especially with the colors and just the way that they used them with those logos.
They also look very good compared to the other in the field, I think you could say. This concept was done very well with the Pacers, and I think it has not done very well with others, which I'm sure we can talk about these jerseys for many weeks to come on Uniform Factor. But we don't have time for all of them today, so we'll just pick a select few. I'll also add that asymmetry is one of my favorite things to see in a sports uniform if it's done well, and I think it's done very well here. Like you said, the sash continues all the way from the chest where the Pacers logo is down to the shorts where the stripe only appears on one side. So I think these are great so far. What do you think, Daniel?
I like these. Sorry, I like these a lot. They're really clean. I like that navy blue and that yellow. Always a good look. I like the sash pattern, what you were talking about. My favorite thing is I'm a sucker for like state logos, so I really like that there on the shorts with the basketball in the Indiana.
That's nice. And Davis, I know you're a fan of NBA history. So how do you feel about the remixing of the past into the future?
I do like the ideas for this jersey. I do like the fact that they use the old ABA logo with the hand holding the ball there. But I don't know how I feel about the yellow across the chest. Like, I like the idea of it, but in practice, looking at the screen from over here, I don't know. It doesn't look as amazing to me in game. Personally,
I think that's a fair assessment. I do think that these are very colorful, which I think maybe if they had gone with the primarily white uniform like that, like the look is inspired by. It's inspired by two home white uniforms. It may look a little better because that blue and yellow looks great as an accent color on white. So I'm just super excited to break down all of these as we progress through the weeks here on Uniform Factor. But like I said, it's going to take some time to sit with and comprehend, especially with some of the crazy designs we've seen out of the NBA. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to reviewing all of these in the future. All right, we're going to move on to another one that Bay Marks selected to talk about today, and that is the Atlanta Hawks Forever 404 City Edition jersey. We talked about these just for a little bit earlier in the week, so we'll get a more in-depth breakdown today. This one is inspired by 4 different Atlanta Hawks jerseys from the past, including the primary yellow gold, kind of yellow, mustardy yellow color worn by the Hawks on the road in the early 2000s. You've also got that big hawk on the chest. It's a little smaller than it was because it used to be huge back in the day that they wore in the 90s. You've also got the Art Deco Atlanta script worn by the, I believe, St. Louis Hawks back in the 1970s when they wore those blue and lime green jerseys. I mean, you've also got the really old block number with the drop shadow worn by the Hawks back when they were in baby blue and red. So all of these 4 looks blended together, and you've got that classic Hawk script on the shorts, another pair of asymmetrical shorts. The Vince Carter era Hawks script has been put on the left side of the shorts with a block on the right side of the shorts. And you've also got a brand new logo on this one down by the player tag on the left side. You've got a very subtle Atlanta Hawk logo where the basketball is a 0 in 404, which is, of course, the phone code for the Atlanta metro area. So these are the 2021-2022 City Edition jerseys for the Atlanta Hawks.
I really like these, and I didn't just pick them because of the Braves. But I thought this would probably be one of the more interesting uniforms to talk about because some of these uniforms for the City Editions, they're kind of hit or miss with what they're trying to do. This one hits the mark on a lot of things, but there are a few little key differences that at first glance you might not notice. So the font within the Atlanta on the chest and then the Hawks on the left side of the shorts, they don't coincide with each other, which kind of bothers me a little bit because I feel like if they were to coincide, that would make the uniform even stronger. And then I really would have liked to see the block on the shorts go all the way around since it is already on the waistband with the current Hawks logo and goes down the right side of the shorts and in front of the shorts. I think that would have been something really cool just to top off the uniform. But overall, they did a really clean look with these. And then something else that I like to point out is I'm not a huge fan of numbers that are offset from the center part of the uniform or anything like that. That kind of just, you have to kind of search for the number within the uniform. This falls under that category, but I feel like they do it in a way that is easy enough to find it because it is big and bold on the top left portion of the chest underneath the Share Care logo. So I do not mind the number looking like that. But overall, besides those 2 little minor tweaks of these uniforms, they look great. I love the colors. I love the honor and the heritage that they throw back to the late 20th century. And the 404 tribute right above the player tag logo, like Jack mentioned, I think that's a very cool addition.
Thoughts?
I love these. I like how they pay 70 tributes to the team's history. I like the color. I like the red and the black on the yellow. It looks sharp. I really like the area code on the logo in the bottom. These are nice.
I think the way that the eagle also has his wings up stretched across the entire torso is a cool thing to add as well.
I like a lot of elements of this. I'm a big sucker for vintage and like retro stuff, as I'm sure y'all know. But I just don't. I'm not a big fan of the yellow. Like I don't think yellow works in basketball uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Just with the heart, with the court, with the players running around. I'm not a big fan of this bright of a yellow. Like I can see you have the Cavaliers one up there. I believe with Kyrie Irving. Is that correct? Like to the right of it.
This?
No, to that.
Oh no, the Hawks used to wear yellow.
Oh no, that's Joe Johnson then. Yeah, even then, yeah.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Is that I don't know of all the kind of iconic looks that the Hawks have worn throughout the years. Why would you pick the yellow? That is kind of an afterthought.
I see like a 2. I thought it was Kyrie because the Cavaliers also used to wear similar.
Yeah.
I don't
know why the Hawks went with yellow.
I'm not a big fan of the yellow. I like the idea that they're going for though, but I don't think the yellow's gonna look good on the court.
Good call. All right, well, we're going to bump on over to the next thing before we have to hit to a break, and that is what Stanford wore in their game against Washington this past weekend in their football game. Stanford, of course, the only team that Oregon has lost to. So if we want to dig up that talking point from the previous segment. But Stanford did look a lot of teams went with a blackout over the weekend, of course, to celebrate Halloween. Including Arizona State, Old Dominion, even Georgia Tech got in on the fun. So there were a lot of teams going with the blackout, and Stanford was not to be outdone. I mean, they rolled out these, which I had never seen before. So I thought they were the best one to talk about out of the bunch, and that is it's the pretty standard Stanford kit, except the number or the names on the back are kind of in a shiny metallic red Stanford Cardinal, and then the logos on the helmets. The helmets are matte black with a shiny metallic Cardinal stripe and the Stanford Block S logo in that same reflective pattern on the helmet. So I thought these were super cool. I thought they looked good under the lights, and even though the Stanford program is struggling mightily this year, they look pretty good in their game against Washington this weekend.
I'll let y'all take it first. I'm still trying to get the picture pulled up.
Have they won these before? Because I found a Stanford thing from 2017 where they look similar.
They may have. I think they may have worn a black jersey before, but I think these helmets are new.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I can't find the new one either.
I went on Stanford's athletics page and went to the football section to get these pictures. They were hard to find for me as well. I should have mentioned that.
They look good in action. I pulled up a highlight video from the game so I could see them. But
okay, fair enough.
They look sharp. I like them a lot. I love that helmet.
Yeah, I just thought they were an interesting note. Like I said, this is kind of highlighting all of the. If you go on uniswag.com, which is where I pull a lot of the pictures, they actually compile a watch list of who's wearing the coolest stuff every week in college football. And I just noticed a general trend that a lot of teams were going with the blackouts. So I thought it was worth mentioning that, and I think a good example of it was this Stanford Cardinal team. I thought the reflective helmet looked pretty cool under the lights, and for a guy who is pretty adamant against black for black's sake, as I know is a common talking point on Uniform Factor, I thought these I'll give a pass to because they look pretty cool.
Yeah, these are nice. I like them a lot.
I do like these, and also on the photos on Stanford's, a lot of the student section in their costumes. It's pretty fun. Some good costumes there.
Pretty cute. Fun Halloween night in Palo Alto. All right, with that, we are going to head to a quick break. When we come back, we are going to have the thrilling conclusion of Uniform Factor for this week. We've got a lot to talk about, including Kent State in some action last night, pulled out the baby blues for the first time. We also got the Air Force Academy wearing a brand new hockey uniform, if you can believe that. I think it's the first time we've had college hockey on the show. So all that and more is coming up on Uniform Factor after the break. Don't go anywhere.
The Delta variant cases of COVID-19 might be more infectious and more transmissible, but there is something we each can do to limit the spread of coronavirus. Wear a mask. Whether it's homemade or manufactured, embellished or plain, wearing a face mask or covering in public, in addition to social distancing and regular hand washing, is one of the easiest ways to protect yourself and others from coronavirus. According to the CDC, wearing a mask is an important part of a layered prevention approach that not only helps to limit cases of COVID-19 infections in communities where vaccination rates are low, but doing so can also limit the emergence of future COVID-19 variants. By wearing a mask or face covering, especially in crowded indoor spaces or busy areas with limited ventilation or poor air quality, you can do your part to keep yourself, your family, and others around you safe. For more information, visit our website at alabamapublichealth.gov. That's alabamapublichealth.gov.
COVID-19 changed everything, and good information has never been more important. There are jobs available right now. Get the facts about what it takes to get one and how you can take action. Use your time to get prepared for the job you need and the career you want. We'll all get through this with information and resources to be ready for what comes next. Your success story is our success story. Get started at alabamaworks.com.
My community means everything to me. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The training and leadership skills I get from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people and look out for my community. If you'd like to learn how you too can serve part-time in the community you love, visit nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. Thank you for choosing to spend your Thursday morning hanging out with us and hanging out with Uniform Factor here, our favorite segment here on Compact Discourse. Great way to end off the week. If you are not watching our YouTube live stream, you should be, so you can see these awesome uniforms along with us. You can just go to youtube.com and find WEGL, look for that orange and blue eagle logo. But if you can't make it to your computer or phone to watch YouTube, that's okay too. We'll do our best to describe them to you, and you can always go back and watch the video on demand at your leisure to check it out in real time. All right, we're going to jump right back into Uniform Factor. Let me pull it up right here, and we'll tab on over to some action last night as the Kent State Golden Flashes busted out something that we had never seen before against the Northern Illinois Huskies. And that was a baby blue jersey to add to their repertoire. Another Under Armour school pulling out something interesting over for some midweek action last night. And I thought these were super cool. Worth noting, the Twitter account was really having a lot of fun with them. So if you want to get a lot of pictures of these, you can go on over to the Kent State football Twitter account. They were posting all night about how much fun they were having wearing these new jerseys. And I thought it was awesome. I think even the MAC logo on the jersey was swapped a little bit around to reflect the baby blue color scheme. You have the helmet, which looks like classic football. It's white. It has a yellow face mask, and it has the golden flash lightning bolt on one side and the number on the other, number of the player. And then the pants have I can make out one word, which is fast, but I'm not sure what the other word is.
It's flash fast.
Okay,
those
that's
are
cute.
the flashes.
That's cute. And then then you got the baby blue shirt. It's got white numbers with yellow and navy blue piping. So the return of double blue on Uniform Factor, one of our favorite combinations, paired up with yellow this time instead of red. So maybe blink and you'll miss it. Might look like a little bit like the Los Angeles Chargers, but. Yeah. I think it's a good look regardless.
That was going to be my first point, was if you initially turn the TV on, you're going to be checking your calendar to see if it's NFL football or what. But, when I look at these, the initial look I get is the Chargers, obviously, with the lightning bolt on the side of the head. It isn't horizontal. This one is vertical, and then the number on the other side. And I like the point that Jack made about the classic football look in regards to the helmet, because just your plain white helmet with a logo or a number on each side, and then your yellow face mask, a very simple and good, clean look. I really like what they did with the blue here. They didn't overuse it, and I think that's a challenge when you're using double blues, is overusing one over the other. And I think the usage of the white pants with the yellow piping on the side, I think that really keeps that in check. Overall, I really do like them, and the use of double blue, again, y'all know me with my double blue. They did a really good job of keeping the navy to a minimum, but just enough to make those numbers and that Under Armour logo stick out.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could swap out the baby blue for something else, and the helmet and pants wouldn't look out of place. And I think that's indicative of it being a really good kit that works well together.
Now, one thing I will say that I wish they just would have changed real quick is, instead of the lightning bolt on the shoulder, since you do already have that on the helmet, I would replace that with the numbers, or vice versa, put the numbers on the helmet and then the lightning bolt on the shoulder caps. But either way, they look great.
These are sharp. I like them a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the helmet, but I do like the jerseys, and the pants are cool.
I would like to see what the helmet looks like with a stripe. I do respect the decision to go stripeless. It's a bold move, but I think maybe a lightning bolt down the top of the helmet with numbers on both sides. I don't know. Let's mix it up. Let's workshop it a little bit.
Something else that I was noticing looking at these is the players have different area codes. I'm assuming they are attached to the top of the face mask. I don't know if that's their hometown area code. Some of them are the 662. One guy's wearing the 301. I don't know. Might get the guys to look at that in the lab later.
I think, yeah. We'll look into that. Because that 301, definitely not Ohio.
Negative.
The helmets are the thing I really like the most about. There's a 304. Well, the helmets are the things I like the most about this. I'm still not entirely sold on the baby blue with the white and yellow pants. I think I'm coming around to it, though.
I thought they looked good in action, and I thought they were a fun thing to see on a midweek game. I really enjoy midweek football because you get to see fun stuff throughout the week. Even if you're not glued to your TV, there's some funny moments that pop up on your Twitter feed, and it keeps the sports world active 7 days a week, and I enjoy that. All right, we're going to jump into our last uniform for today, and that is the United States Air Force Academy out in Colorado. Of course, they have a hockey team because it's Colorado. And they are wearing a new kit inspired by bombers, once again, like those B-52 uniforms we talked about for football on one of the first episodes of Uniform Factor. They wore these in a 2-game set against Colorado College at the end of October. And real quick, I'll get the backstory on these. But just to describe them, they're primarily black or a very dark brown with the kind of aviation, high visibility orange lettering, numbering, and striping around the shoulders and legs. Of course, those hockey socks. And then you've also got a kind of army green-brown camo shoulder plate with a camouflage American flag, a mission patch, and a camouflage helmet. So these are really cool, and they are called the Linebacker 2 uniforms. They are inspired by the B-52 bombers. The helmets feature a special Air Force Southeast Asia camo pattern that was used on B-52 aircrafts. The uniform is highlighted with orange letters, numbers, and piping. And the shoulders are green and feature special patches to complete the look for the Air Force Academy.
It's bold to go on top of the black with just the orange font and numbers without any outline. But with the way that they designed these uniforms in this concept, I think it's fine because there's a distinct difference between where the shoulders end, where the torso begins, and then where the torso ends towards the bottom. You have that distinct difference between the green on the top with the special patches on the shoulders, the American flag, and then the patch on the left shoulder. And then you see it flows down towards the bottom of the uniform with the striping on the shins and the back of the calves that match the top of the uniform. So these actually look really cool. I'm really interested to know a little bit more about these, and I really do like the way that they use these colors, considering these are kind of tougher colors to incorporate into some different uniforms, especially with hockey. We were talking about with basketball. Davis mentioned Davis talking about the yellow uniforms not really popping on the hardwood, which makes a lot of sense. And with the white, it's really hard to incorporate white uniforms. These are the complete opposite. I think they'll pop really well on the ice.
Yeah, it's hard to see the full breadth of the camo helmet, but I think that is probably my favorite part of these. It's got the battle green and kind of the aviation gray. It looks really good together. It's got the United States Air Force roundel that you'd see on the tail of a plane on the side instead of a logo or a corporate brand like you'd see in the NHL. And then that patch on the left side rather is actually the patch for the Strategic Air Command, which is was in use from 1947 to 1992 by the Air Force, and that patch features kind of like a knight's gauntlet clutching 3 orange lightning bolts. So I think that's where the inspiration for the orange came from. It looks like the exact same color.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but on the left side of the helmet there is that star with that little sort of that sticker. I don't know if that's in honor of anybody or anything as well, like that patch that you just mentioned, Jack, but I think that's kind of a cool addition on top of that gray stripe within the camo.
Looks good.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, but I think it all meshes well. is what I'll say about these. Daniel?
I really love the orange. Like, it pops so well, especially on the gloves, in my opinion, and on the front of the jersey. I'm going to go see if I can find these, like, highlights and see them in action. I think that'd look really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And Davis?
I really like these overall. The one thing I would say is that in action, like their underclothing to keep them warm is blue for Air Force, obviously. Maybe give them some black ones so it doesn't, because it's kind of throwing off the whole color, because you can see them on all the uniforms sticking out of their like shorts. But otherwise, I really like these uniforms.
Overall,
being a little nitpicky over here.
Hey, that's what Uniform Factor is all about. We're here to nitpick.
I'm trying to help them get the most out of their uniforms.
All right, and with that, that's going to conclude the visual segment of Uniform Factor. But, of course, we cannot end this segment without talking about something that happened in Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday night, and that was an alteration to the Auburn uniform, which we had not seen since the Penn State game, and before that had not seen pretty much ever, and that was the Auburn football team wearing an orange face mask for the first time in quite some time. I have the exact year right here. A long time ago. I think it was the 80s. But that's what we're going to talk about now, per the request of Bay Marks. I know he was excited about it.
Well, and I thought about this the other day, was the fact that Bo Nix and the guys in that 2019 freshman class, they've worn all 4 different colored face masks that Auburn has ever worn in their history, being orange, blue, white, and gray. So I thought that was something interesting to point out. But obviously, Auburn does not change their uniforms a lot. Dana Marquez, the associate athletic director over equipment, he mentioned the fact that they wanted to start incorporating minor changes into the uniforms, possibly, instead of just coming out with a brand new uniform and upsetting a lot of people. Because Auburn is a traditional place. And I think the biggest thing with these orange face masks is a lot of people do forget the fact that they are a traditional look back from the late 70s, 80s. Like when my dad was here, they had them. So it's not like it's anything out of the ordinary. Auburn's had these before. Now, they weren't just the matte or not even a matte orange, just the plain orange that you'd get back in the 70s or 80s. This orange wasn't metallic either. Or no, it was a little more metallic. It wasn't chrome either. It was more so to match the striping on the helmet, because back in 2015, Auburn did move to the more reflective pattern on the helmet with their stickers. So that's really what it more so matches. But I think the fact that they wore these under the lights for the first time instead of during the day was a perfect opportunity to showcase them. They looked great. They matched the helmet striping perfectly. I was a little concerned to see if they would match that helmet stripe and the logo, and they did. And this is me being super nitpicky about Auburn's uniforms, which I always will, but I wish more players would have worn orange gloves and orange accents for the orange out. But overall, the face mask, I think these are great. I think you wear these coincidingly with the blue ones from here on out. I say hold off on the white ones maybe just for a few road games, but you have to incorporate these more often, starting now.
Yeah, they wore them from 1979 to 1984, so quite the throwback for the Auburn team on Saturday. And yeah, I'm interested to see how sparingly they wear these in the future, including maybe even on the road.
They look so good. And kind of like Jack said, like just a second ago, I'm looking at this picture of Bo Jackson on the road with an orange face mask, and I love it. I would love if they could bring that back. And
on the white uniform?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd look cool. I know Jack's a big fan of Drop Shadow. Maybe we'll bring back the orange Drop Shadow. That could actually look pretty cool.
If only.
I think so, too.
A man can dream.
So what prompted them starting to do new face masks? Because I know Auburn's pretty strict about their uniforms not changing a lot.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, because I think you would know as well. It's up to the head coach's kind of discretion most of the time if they change uniforms and put little tweaks in there. And I think Harson's been kind of wanting to gradually move into a little bit some more tweaks in the uniform. And I think just due to the orange out and it being Halloween and a big game, maybe just a little more juice behind the players.
Yeah,
that'd be my biggest thing.
Well, I mean, when you have a coaching change and then immediately a uniform change, it's hard to not see those track with one another, especially coming from a place like Boise where you're wearing a different uniform every game. I think Harson's maybe a little more enthused than any of our previous coaches to mix things up a little bit.
My hope is he just continues to honor that tradition, being an Auburn fan, just going forward.
That's good. He's used to the colors, so he knows what looks good.
Harson bringing in an orange Auburn jersey?
We shall see.
I really hope
We've had those
just
before,
once.
too.
Back in the 80s, I was just looking at him.
Yeah, we've had orange jerseys before.
He's gonna be like he's gonna turn the field orange. It's gonna be like Boise. Opposite, of course.
All right, and that's going to do it for Uniform Factor today. I hope everyone enjoyed the segment and are looking forward to next week's edition, where we will probably have even more to talk about. If I'm being honest with you, it was a little bit of a slow week in uniform news, so I apologize for that. But with that, I hope that some more college teams will unveil some new stuff down the stretch so we can get, and we're almost in college basketball season, which college basketball season is a great time to be a fan of uniforms because it's throwbacks and ugly stuff and all of our favorite things here on Uniform Factor. Those are coming up starting next week, I would hope. So we'll get to all that and more. I want to thank Bay Marks for joining us on the show today. It's always a pleasure. And so thank you for joining us, Bay.
Thanks for having me.
I know you got to get off to do your presentation. So we're
a little spiffy today.
Yeah, gotta make a quick jaunt, stay dry in between classes. All right, well, with that, we're going to head to a quick break. When we come back, Daniel and Davis will still be hanging out with me, and we're going to continue the show and a whole lot more. So keep it right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, the Superstation, the Big 91, coming at you live from Auburn, Alabama for over 50 years now at this point. I'm Jack Hart. Once again, we'll be back in about 5 minutes with the remainder of the show, the second hour, the final hour of the week. We're getting excited for Auburn against Texas A&M coming up this weekend in College Station, as well as Auburn basketball tipping off tonight for the women's game, the exhibition game, and tomorrow for the men's game, the exhibition game. So get ready for that and more coming up on the rest of Compact Discourse.
In Alabama, the recycling industry employs nearly 11,000 men and women. Recycling just 10% more would create an additional 1,400 jobs and $66 million in personal income. To learn about recycling opportunities in your area, contact the East Alabama Recycling Partnership. Recycling works in Alabama. Brought to you by the East Alabama Recycling Partnership, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on WEGL 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, WEGL FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with WEGL Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WEGLFM.com and WEGL 91.1 FM, Auburn.
1 in 5 people in the U.S. have an STD, and many people have no symptoms. Do you know your status? Alabama residents and students attending Alabama colleges and universities can request a free at-home test for chlamydia, gonorrhea, HIV, and syphilis to be mailed right to your door. Go to adph.mybinks, that's binxhealth.com. Again, it's mybinkshealth.com. The kit is free and confidential. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Public Health, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
It's the top of the hour, about 9 a.m., and you're still listening to WEGL 91.1 FM. Well, you've made it this far. Go get yourself a cup of coffee. You've earned it.
But I really need a cup of joe, and if I don't get one, I think I might blow a gasket, and it's not a pretty sight.
We'll be right back in a few minutes with the second half of the show. Thank you so much for listening to Compact Discourse.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tossing food wrappers and soda cups can be expensive. That $7.99 value meal you threw out the window could cost you $500 in fines. And if you don't learn your lesson the first time, a second fine will cost you $1,000. Put garbage in its place. Throw away your trash, not your cash. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
You can beat your toughest opponent. You can beat your best time in the mile. You can beat that old largemouth bass. But one thing you should never try and beat is a train. If a train is approaching, don't risk your life trying to beat it, because beating the train is a deadly game. Drive safe, Alabama. Sponsored by ALDOT, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
What's up, Auburn? This is your host, DJ P of the Woodstock Hour, WEGL's longest running classic rock show. Feel free to tune in every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for an hour of peace, love, and music.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right, I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You know what really gets a party started? Indoor baseball. Yeah, just find a broom or a pool cue, and you can use, like, anything as a ball. Cans, bottles, shoes.
Hey, bro, toss me that avocado.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join. I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture. It helped me get my job, it helped me pay for my house.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
There are 250 miles of trails in Alabama state parks. That's 250 miles for you to hike, bike, and explore. And it's something we want to share with future generations. Help us improve these trails by becoming a partner in the Alabama State Parks Trail Program. To learn more about the importance of outdoor recreation and how you can help with the development and management of this new trail program, visit alapark.com or call 800-ALAPARK. Sponsored by the Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Check out my new time machine.
Does it work?
Hit the button.
Hey, it's Napoleon.
Oui. Check out the future.
Hey, you have a nice house. Why don't I?
You didn't save any money, buddy.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and fix that.
Yeah.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad
How can we make Alabama a more beautiful state? By keeping our roads, highways, schools, and communities litter-free. It doesn't take much, but to think before you act. So what does the next generation say?
Pick it up, man.
Take pride in your school. Did you just litter? Clean it up, dude.
How can you make a difference? Adopt a mile. Join the Alabama Clean Campus program or join in the Spring Cleanup or Alabama Coastal Cleanup. And remember,
don't drop it on Alabama.
This message by People Against a Littered State, the ABA, ALDOT, and this station.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back
driving is drunk driving? A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad!
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye? I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Hey, Russell Wilson here, and I know how important exercise is.
It's essential.
With Play 60, United Way and the NFL are helping kids stay active and play at least 60 minutes a day.
Healthy kids, healthy kids.
But what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60 because great things happen when we live united.
Donate.
Are you guys going to do that every time?
Yes, of course.
Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jack Hart, hanging out with Daniel Locke, host of the Eagles Nest. Later on today. Is that correct, Daniel?
That is correct. We've got a great show lined up today. In the first segment, Jacob Hillman and I are going to be celebrating the Braves winning the World Series. Then we're going to be talking about some UFC. College football will be in there somewhere. I think we're going to take a break from the NFL, and we're going to focus on NBA/NHL. We might preview some college basketball, just whatever I feel like doing today. There's so much to talk about.
There are. We're in a great time for sports. There's a glut of things to mention, talk about, discuss, argue about, and much, much more. So right here on WEGL, you can get plenty of sports from 2 to 3 p.m. We've got the scoreboard, and then from 3 to 4, we got the Eagles Nest featuring Jacob Hillman today. So we've got plenty to get to later on WEGL today. We've also got Birds Aren't Real coming up at noon to kick off our WEGL Thursday, 9 hours of programming, followed by the Beat Drop. That's a classic music show from 1 to 2, so 2 hours of music from 12 to 2. And we got 2 hours of sports from 2 to 4. We've also got Life at 33 RPM. That's Keaton's show about jazz. It's coming on at 5 p.m. A lot of classic stuff he's made himself, and more, all at 33 RPM here on our WEGL turntables. Got Walker Green's show coming up at 6 p.m. And then to cap off your night at 7 p.m., you got Moonlight Madness, right when the likes of Thursday Night Football are kicking off. You can watch it alongside Jacob Goins and Moonlight Madness coming up at 7 p.m. tonight here on WEGL 91.1 FM. And we've also got Auburn Stages going on tonight. That's going to be Adam Linhart is going to be out on the
Upper Cater Lawn, I do believe. But if you want to get all the information on that, you go to WEGL_AU on Instagram and check out what is going on. Upper Quad Lawn. Excuse me. Adam Linhard, 11-4. That's today. He's a solo artist. He has a ukulele. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to have a lot of fun if you go out and support him and watch Auburn Stages. It's probably pretty much the coolest event on campus. And I think Dylan already has the entire second semester, spring semester, booked up for Auburn Stages again. So Auburn Stages is not going anywhere. So I hope you've enjoyed it so far and will enjoy it tonight as Adam will be taking the stage, built by the College of Architecture and Design, to get involved and have a good time. Doors at 5 p.m., music at 6, I do believe, on the Upper Quad Lawn tonight. That's Adam. And Dylan put it all together. Luke will be setting up the audio, all friends of the show. So we're having a good time here on WEGL, and I hope you are having a good time and choosing to spend your Thursday morning with us here on WEGL 91.1 FM. All right, we're going to jump. It is Thursday, last show of the week, and it's a big college football weekend coming up on this Saturday. So we're going to jump into who's playing whom and what to expect coming out of this weekend. We'll just go backwards down the top 25, beginning with number 24, San Diego State. Will be playing at 10 p.m. Central Time in Honolulu, Hawaii, against the Rainbow Warriors of the Mountain West. The Hawaii quarterback, Cordero, he's 124 of 224. He's thrown for 1,700 yards and 10 touchdowns so far this season. Yeah, that's an interesting stat line because that's not a lot of throws, but that's a good amount of yards for only 124 completions. Yeah. So I'm kind of interested. I want to look into a little more on him, but this game seems interesting, honestly. Only San Diego State's only favored by 7.5, which for a road team seems high, but I'll definitely check this one out if possible, if I feel like staying up that late.
Yeah, I know Helen will be staying out to watch this one. Siobhan Cordero of Hawaii, if just for a back-of-the-envelope calculation, is averaging about 14 yards a pass.
That's insane.
That's insane. That's how they do it out in the Mountain West, I guess. All right, we've also got 6:30 p.m. You've got Indiana taking on Michigan. Michigan looking to bounce back after a tough loss to in-state rival Michigan State. They are favored by 20 in this one, so Vegas likes the Wolverines to bounce back and try to claw their way back into that Big Ten title game. What did you think about Michigan last week?
That was crazy. That was a fun game to watch. I had some friends in town to show them Auburn, and we were just checking out the game in my apartment before we headed over to the Plains to tailgate and all that. And that game was nuts. I'm glad Michigan State pulled it out, but it'll be interesting to see how Michigan responds. And what I really hope doesn't happen, I hope this didn't ruin the chance of us getting an interesting Michigan-Ohio State game this year.
I don't think it will, because I think if Ohio State could drop another one to Michigan State potentially, and then at that point you could have Michigan beating Ohio State, and that would lead to some intrigue as well. So I think as long as Michigan keeps that just one loss, even though it is in their division and in their conference, I think they still will show a lot of fight in trying to get their way back to Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think so too. And just the other side in this game, Indiana, last year they were pretty good. This year they started, I think they were ranked somewhere around the 17 spot. I can't remember exactly, but they have just fallen apart. Like Michael Penix Jr. was electric last year. And this year, at this point, he's only 87 of 162, 939 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. So things have really fallen off the rails in Bloomington.
That's what I would say. And then the next game we're going to talk about is a team I'm going to put on upset watch, and that is the Oregon Ducks will be traveling to Seattle, Washington to take on the Huskies. This one's on ABC at 6:30 p.m. Oregon is favored just by a mere 7 points, so I think Vegas agrees with this one. Oregon has been struggling with their Pac-12 schedule all season long, and yes, this Washington team is not very good. I think we all remember when they lost to Montana in Week 1, but I think they are good enough at home to maybe just squeak one past the Oregon Ducks and knock them out of the playoff.
Crazier things have definitely happened this year. I could see that happening for sure.
That's right, and I think this one in Husky Stadium, Dylan Morris is having a pretty good season for himself. He's the Washington quarterback. He's 156 of 256 for 1,800 yards and 11 tutties on the year. And then Travis Dye, it's going to be up to him to keep it on the ground, add to his 10 touchdown total on the year. But then I also want to keep my eyes on Terrell Bynum, who is the Washington wide receiver. He's got 4 touchdown snags on the year and has received 427 passing yards on just 25 catches.
Yeah, that's quite the stat line, and I'm going with you. I think Washington gets it done.
I think if I were a betting man, I think it would be Oregon's week to go down. And speaking of Oregon's week to go down, here's a team that gave him trouble earlier in the season. It's the Fresno State Bulldogs crashing back into the poll. Another Mountain West team with a lot of intrigue. Their quarterback is having a pretty good season for himself. He's thrown for almost 2,900 yards so far and 23 touchdowns. That's Jake Hayner for the Fresno State Bulldogs. But they are only favored by a mere 5 points as the Boise State Broncos, 4-4, come to town to play in Bulldog Stadium.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I'm looking forward to watching it, and I don't know. I don't know who I'm going with on that one. I'm pretty torn, not going to lie to you.
That Fresno passing offense is really hard to stop, and it's only been stopped once so far of a season, I believe, to San Diego State is their one loss in conference.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm going to go with Fresno State. I agree with you. The passing, that's going to be hard to stop.
Iowa is looking to bounce back after 2 straight conference losses and bad ones at that, dropping at home to Purdue to knock them out of the playoff picture, and then losing again Camp Randall pretty handedly last weekend. Iowa is traveling to Evanston to take on the Wildcats of Northwestern. I think Iowa will end up winning this game, but it's going to be a long off season for the Hawkeyes trying to figure out what went wrong after starting 6-0.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. I think they get this one done easily, or maybe not easily.
Could be anything.
Right. I think they will win. I don't think Northwestern gets this one done, but I don't think that Iowa's going to win by 12.
Yeah, I don't see them covering either. So then we're going to move on to the SEC, another night game here on ESPN2. Will be Tennessee versus Kentucky. This one is a push, believe it or not, according to Vegas. Over-under set at 56.5. Tennessee 4-4 will be traveling to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats, who lost last week to Mississippi State Bulldogs. So they'll try to be bouncing back from that loss. Interesting SEC East matchup here.
Yeah, it's not often that you see an even spread, but I don't know. Like Tennessee seems to be hot. Kentucky seems to be cooling off a little bit. I think I'm gonna go with the Vols.
They should be very motivated to finish the season on a high note after starting with a disappointing. And they showed they can hang with Alabama, so I don't know. It's hard to count this Tennessee team out. Speaking of Alabama, the Crimson Tide will be hosting the LSU Tigers at 6 p.m. on Saturday on ESPN. Alabama's favored by 4 touchdowns in this one, and look to dismantle the LSU Tigers for the second straight year as they are rolling along with their SEC schedule, just biding their time until the Iron Bowl and potential matchup in Atlanta with the Georgia Bulldogs. This one shouldn't be that interesting to watch, so I'm not quite sure why ESPN's picked this one up.
There's a chance that I might be in attendance at this one. I am going to be going to Tuscaloosa this weekend, hang out with a couple of my buddies up there. And one of my friend's dads has some extra tickets. He said if I wanted to go to the game with them, I could. I'm not really sure if that's what I'm going to do or not. That will probably be closer to game time decision. But I think that Alabama's going to win. I don't think they're going to struggle too much. But, yeah.
We shall see. We hope it's interesting.
We hope.
NC State is ranked once again. They are going to be traveling down to Tallahassee to take on the 3-5 Florida State Seminoles at 3 p.m. Central Time on the ACC Network. NC State is favored just by 2.5 in this one, so Vegas does not like the Wolfpack to come out with a blowout win against a struggling Florida State team.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I think that NC State covers that easily. I think they cover it. I think that they're going to win by 10 or so. So I think they're going to cover that spread over and over again. I don't trust Florida State at all. I was up on them in the beginning when they gave Notre Dame a tough fight, but then when they lost to Jacksonville State, I was like, I'm never going to trust this team again.
Yeah, it was. It's a bit difficult to put any kind of faith in this Florida State team. All right, we got Mississippi State, now ranked number 17 in the college football playoff rankings, will be traveling to Fayetteville to take on the Razorbacks of Arkansas. This one is at 3 p.m. Central Time. Now, Vegas favors the Razorbacks by 5 points, which I believe, in my personal opinion, is the correct scoring of this one. Honestly, if you had put Arkansas at number 17 and kept Mississippi State out of the playoff rankings, I think that would have made a little more sense. So we'll see if that theory holds true this weekend as the Bulldogs travel to take on the Hogs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to go with the upset. Or no, I take that back. I almost made a mistake there. Arkansas, I think, is going to win, but I think that this is Mississippi State's chance to prove you, me, and Baymarks wrong. If they're legit, they need to win this one.
I would agree. So, but for Auburn's sake, I'm hoping they're not legit.
Yeah, I agree.
So Will Rogers for Mississippi State, he has thrown the ball all over the field so far this season. He's completed 327 passes for 2,890 yards and 19 touchdowns on the year. Trelon Smith is your leading rusher for Arkansas. He's got 459 yards on 90 carries and 4 touchdowns on the year, as well as Treylon Burks has received 717 yards and 7 touchdown grabs for the Hogs so far this season.
Yeah, that's quite the year, quite the stat line. I'm interested to see how they respond to this road environment. You went to Arkansas a couple weeks ago. How tough do you think that would be compared to like Auburn or Alabama?
Well, I did go to an 11 o'clock game, but I will say that the stadium was completely full. So credit to Arkansas there. But I will say that the fans seemed to get deterred very easily. I was on the opposite side of the stadium, the student section, which I'm sure it would have been much louder if I was down there. But I mean, there was the point where Auburn was about to punch in that touchdown from 1 yard out in the second half, and the fans were barely into it. You could hear a pin drop. So I don't know exactly what the vibe is going to be. I feel like Arkansas probably feels a little bit slighted after those 3 straight SEC losses, coming off a bye and looking to take down a potentially vulnerable ranked team is what I would bill Mississippi State as. I like this. I mean, it's going to be getting dark towards the end of this game. It'll be a night game by the end of it, considering it's starting at 3, and the days are getting a lot shorter here as we approach daylight savings time. So, man, I'm pretty excited. I hope Arkansas can pull out the victory in this one. And they don't have the motivation of a faux fumble, although I will say, like they do against Auburn.
Yeah, I really think that they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to kind of be thinking like they're ranked where we should be, and I think they're going to come out on fire, and I think they're going to get it done.
All right, well, we've got plenty to get to here still on Compact Discourse. We've got the rest of the Saturday slate to talk about, as well as the Auburn-Texas A&M game coming up on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. on CBS. Bo Nix will look to take on the Texas A&M Aggie defense and come away with the first Auburn victory in Texas A&M since 2017, I believe. So we'll look into that and a lot more. 2019, what am I thinking? Anthony Schwartz, man, took that first play in for the touchdown. Unbelievable. We'll look to repeat that performance and more on Saturday. Keep it right here on Compact Discourse.
These are the moments you remember. These are the sounds you celebrate.
Fastball driven. Deep left center field. David Ross, you have company.
Whether it's the stadium, the arena, or the ballpark.
Auburn 75. Kentucky 7. I think I'll storm the court. There goes Davis. Oh my God.
Your home for Auburn sports is the Auburn Sports Network.
Making it green is
means making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
Here's farmer and landowner John Prue.
We purchased the land about 3 years ago, and there was an old farmstead on there with trees. We were going to clear the land so we could farm through it. We thought we knew where the pipe was, so we didn't call to get it located. The work on our property led to the damage of a light crude pipeline. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it could have been much worse.
Never assume the location or depth of underground lines. Always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com before you start work. A message from the Pipeline Operators for Ag Safety Campaign.
91.1 WEGL FM, Auburn University.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I am your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Daniel Locke here, sporting his Atlanta Braves championship merchandise as the Atlanta Braves clinched their Game 6 victory and thus a World Series victory on Tuesday evening. So congratulations to the Atlanta Braves and all their fans, who I know we have a big constituent here in Auburn, Alabama, which was entirely evident as the Chop took over Toomer's Corner on Tuesday evening. All right, we are going to head to your weather report real quick. 51 degrees with some light rain here on the plains this morning, on Thursday morning. The high is 58 today. The low is 46. Expect a little bit of rain throughout the day as the clouds are not going anywhere. However, the showers shall stop by the afternoon. We're looking at a 40% chance of rain for the rest of the morning. It's going to warm up to 57 degrees later on this afternoon, with that chance of rain dropping down to 4%. But the clouds are here to stay, so it won't get that hot at all today. 50 degrees is your evening temp. 48 degrees is your overnight temp. Sun is going to set at just about 5:50 p.m. tonight. Winds are blowing west 9 miles per hour. It's going to be pretty dark tonight because it is a new moon. I was out running last night, and it was pretty much pitch black if there were no street lights. So keep that in mind as you plan your nighttime activities tonight. Humidity is going to be 80% today. And just looking ahead, as we are not going to be providing you weather for the next few days. Friday, it's going to be mostly cloudy, high 58, low of 41. Over the weekend, we're looking at a very sunny weekend. Pretty much no chance of rain until next Friday. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we're looking at sunny skies, high of 63, high of 67, and high of 71, respectively. But the lows are in the mid-40s, so be sure to plan accordingly and plan for all your options as you head out to your weekend activities on this road game weekend. So that was going to do it for your Auburn weather report. And with that, we will jump right back into college football. We've got the next game up on the docket is going to be number 21 ranked Wisconsin, coming off a big win against the Iowa Hawkeyes, making the long road trip over to Piscataway, New Jersey to take on the Rutgers of Big Ten. The Scarlet Knights are not given much love in this one, which rightfully so, boasting a 1-4 Big Ten record. Wisconsin is favored by 13 in this one. The the Rutgers quarterback has only thrown for 7 touchdowns so far this season.
Yeah, this is going to be a lopsided one. I think that 4-4 makes Rutgers seem a lot better than they actually are, and I think Wisconsin's a tad underrated. I think that luck just didn't go their way a couple times this year, but I think that they get it done.
Get it done, indeed, they will. And tickets are as low as $9 if you would like to head on up to Piscataway and watch this one.
That's tempting.
This Big Ten matchup, yeah. Tickets are not $9 for Auburn versus Texas A&M. They're as low as $168 if you'd like to watch this one in College Station, live and in person. A&M's favored by 4.5 in this one, ranked number 14 in the land. They have 2 SEC losses to Alabama and Arkansas. Auburn coming in with a 6-2 record as well. They have 1 SEC loss, and that was to Georgia.
Are you making the trip, Jack?
I will be heading out, on Friday or tomorrow, I guess. Ooh, I got to pack. I'm going to Houston, Texas, flying out to Houston and driving up to Bryan/College Station to catch this one at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. So pretty excited about that. I have not been to A&M since 2017.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. I'm looking forward to making the trip, hopefully in 2023. My goal next year is, since we're the SEC team that gets 8 home games next year, all of our road games are very, very easy trips. Alabama, Georgia, and the 2 Mississippis. So I'm going to go to all 12 next year. Then for my road games in 2023, I'm definitely going to go to A&M and Arkansas to kind of change it up a bit. But I'm really excited for this one Saturday. I'll be watching in Tuscaloosa, so I probably won't be sporting any Auburn gear just for personal safety.
For safety reasons.
So I will be cheering silently, and I hope Auburn gets it done. If they do, that'll be a great day no matter what happens with the Alabama game or UFC going on. I'm really excited, but I like Auburn a lot. We are red hot, and I think I saw it on Twitter this morning on my way in to be a part of this awesome show that you do, and it said there's nothing scarier in November than the Auburn Tigers, and I think that rings true.
Yep, they're getting hot at the right time, so we shall see what happens on Saturday. Here's another game at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. That is Idaho State, which is a 1-7 FCS team traveling to take on the BYU Cougars, who are 7-2. Vegas did not bother with this one, and BYU looks to run all over their FCS opponent here in Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo. So BYU is going to improve to 8-2 and potentially make their bid for a New Year's Six Bowl if they continue their success. Here's another team that I'm keeping my eyes on. It is the Baylor Bears. They are my presumptive favorite to win the Big 12 if they can just get over that Oklahoma hump that they've been struggling with for the past 5 years or so. Gary Bohannon is 131 for 203, 1,700 yards, and 12 touchdowns on the year. Baylor's favored in 6.5 against TCU, 3-5, 1-4 in the Big 12. Is going to be hosting in this one, but I would think that the Baylor fans are going to travel very well, as the drive from Waco to Fort Worth is not too bad at all.
You know, if this was an 11 o'clock game and the Auburn game was a night game and Texas wasn't so huge, I would strongly suggest that you check this one out as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to be possible. I'm rocking with Baylor. I like them a lot. I think that this is their year to win the Big 12 and get over the Oklahoma hump that you mentioned.
Yeah, especially with Oklahoma having the down year that they're having, if you can call it that, as they are still ranked of a top 10. All right, heading over to Milan Puskar Stadium in Morgantown, West Virginia. The Nears of West Virginia, who pretty much ended Iowa State's season or hopes for a Big 12 championship appearance last week, are going to hope to do the same against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Jared Doge of West Virginia is thrown for 2,000 yards and 11 touchdowns so far this season. Jalen Warren on the Cowboys has 850 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns, so it's going to be an offensive battle, as it always is in the Big 12. Oklahoma State 7-1, 4-1 in the Big 12, going to head into West Virginia, who is 4-4, looking to avoid the same fate that Iowa State did last week, and I think they will, despite Oklahoma State's one loss being to that same Cyclones team.
I love this one. Anyone who listens to the Eagles Nest knows that we love Spencer Sanders, and I think that he's going to carry these Cowboys to getting it done in Morgantown.
Yeah, I don't think Oklahoma State will be losing again this season, except maybe to Baylor in the Big 12 championship. But, that's a prediction for another day.
Right. Go Spencer Sanders.
All right, here's a classic rivalry that was not played last year, and I'm so happy to see it back on the schedule. Navy at Notre Dame. This one's in Notre Dame, Indiana. 2-6 Navy, not looking to put up much of a fight against Notre Dame, who, as Alex said yesterday, plays very well at home. But it's going to be a beautiful day in South Bend, and I hope the Notre Dame fans relish this historic rivalry coming back to Notre Dame Stadium, as they are favored by 21 points. Jack Cohn, 1,600 yards passing and 12 touchdowns on the year.
I think that Notre Dame's going to get it done. Obviously, I don't think that Navy is much of a threat. I think that this rivalry is going to be very, very appreciated in the stands of Notre Dame Stadium. I wish I was going. I really want to go to a game up there, especially a historic matchup like this would be so much fun. But I think it'll be good. Notre Dame will get it done.
Notre Dame looking to improve to 8-1 on the season and potentially crash their way into a New Year's Six Bowl. And speaking of New Year's Six Bowl, if the playoff committee has their way, Cincinnati is hosting the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes in Nippert Stadium. Man, can you imagine what it's going to be like in Nippert Stadium on Saturday as this number 6 Cincinnati team looks to prove themselves, doing everything they can to prove themselves for the playoff committee? How badly are they going to beat up on Tulsa at home?
I'm glad that I don't play for Tulsa. It's going to be very, very wild in there. I don't think that Cincinnati is going to take very kindly to it. Tickets as low as $147. That's before fees. That's nuts. Like, that's
for an American Conference game against a 3-5 opponent.
That's wild.
I've
never seen anything like that in my life.
So Cincinnati, Bearcat Mania in Cincinnati right now, as they look to prove themselves to the College Football Committee. What can they do to crack the top 4? What's it going to take? All right, we're going to jump over to the Big Ten. There's a lot of good 2:30 games this week. This is the ABC game as Sparty of Michigan State is going to head to West Lafayette, Indiana, to take on the Boilermakers of Purdue, who are 5-3, including a win over top 2 ranked Iowa. Michigan State's only favored by 3 in this one. What do you think the logic behind that one is after taking care of a top 10 opponent last week? Why are they only favored by 3 this week?
That's a good question. I think that should say 10, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that they are really, really relying on the world's largest bass drum to carry these Boilermakers to some success. But I always like to listen to Drew Brees' pick on Twitter before every Purdue game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what he says about that spread. But I think that Michigan State gets it done. I think that the backups will be playing at some point during the game.
They're going to try to do what Nick Saban never did, and that's beat Purdue.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move right over to a Heisman watch. Kenneth Walker III is playing in this game. 1,200 yards rushing, 14 touchdowns on the year, including 5 of those coming last week. Do you think KW has a shot at New York?
I think so.
Especially how loose the field has been so far this year.
Yeah, I think it's a wide open door right now. Because remember a couple weeks ago on the show when we were looking at an article that had like the preseason like top Heisman contenders,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like basically reading down the list. It was like, no, not a chance. So that's what it's like still, and I think that Walker III has as good of a shot as anyone. I think that he'll be up there with Bryce Young. I really hope that my guy Spencer Sanders gets the call, but he's probably pretty far down on the list at the moment. But, as of now, Walker would be my favorite, yes.
That is good to hear, especially with the season Matt Corral's been having. And after last week, I don't know how you can send him to New York.
Yeah, I think that's over.
It might have been dead and buried in Jordan-Hare Stadium. All right, we're going to head to a quick break, and when we come back, 11 o'clock games are coming up as we approach another exciting weekend of college football. I think Auburn versus A&M is the only ranked v. ranked matchup. So on the national stage on CBS, Auburn's looking to get it done out west. So we're going to talk about all that and more, including Wake Forest and Ohio State on the other side of a break. Don't go anywhere. You're hanging out with Jack and Daniel.
In Alabama, the recycling industry employs nearly 11,000 men and women. Recycling just 10% more would create an additional 1,400 jobs and $66 million in personal income. To learn about recycling opportunities in your area, contact the East Alabama Recycling Partnership. Recycling works in Alabama. Brought to you by the East Alabama Recycling Partnership, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on WEGL 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune in to your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, WEGL FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with WEGL Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WEGLFM.com and Weagle 91.1 FM, Auburn.
1 in 5 people in the U.S. have an STD, and many people have no symptoms. Do you know your status? Alabama residents and students attending Alabama colleges and universities can request a free at-home test for chlamydia, gonorrhea, HIV, and syphilis to be mailed right to your door. Go to adph.mybinks, that's binxhealth.com. Again, it's mybinkshealth.com. The kit is free and confidential. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Public Health, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tossing food wrappers and soda cups can be expensive. That $7.99 value meal you threw out the window could cost you $500 in fines. And if you don't learn your lesson the first time, a second fine will cost you $1,000. Put garbage in its place. Throw away your trash, not your cash. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
You can beat your toughest opponent. You can beat your best time in the mile. You can beat that old largemouth bass. But one thing you should never try and beat is a train. If a train is approaching, don't risk your life trying to beat it, because beating the train is a deadly game. Drive safe, Alabama. Sponsored by ALDOT, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is FM 91.
WEGL Auburn.
Switch.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM and WeagleFM.com. Thank you for spending your Thursday morning with us here on the Compact Discourse show. So, we are broadcasting live from the Harold Melton Student Center on the campus of Auburn, Alabama. Auburn University here in Auburn, Alabama, where it is 50 degrees and raining, but the rain should stop soon. So, get excited for that and enjoying the fall weather. I was telling Davis in the break, it's kind of making me crave like roast turkey and dressing.
Do you? You said you don't fall asleep. You're not a napper.
Not a napper.
But even after you devour a Thanksgiving meal, you're not a little tired. You don't sit down. You're like, oh, you nod off a little bit just every time.
I don't nod off. I don't like run a 5K though either. You know, I need a minute to myself.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not big on the Thanksgiving traditions. Like, not like that I don't like them. It's just that, like, I'm not, like, I don't know. I'm just not eating as much as, like, everybody else is for Thanksgiving.
You don't, like, by traditions, you mean, like, the football game, or?
I mean, like, for Thanksgiving for my family, we go up to my dad's parents, and we go to, like, a church. Like, we don't go to church. We just go to, like, a church, and everybody meets there. Like, they rent it out.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that as long as I can remember, and we just kind of, like, you go serve your meal. And it's, like, basically a family reunion, but I usually don't eat a lot there. I just eat some, go out there, maybe throw the football with cousins I haven't seen in 10 years.
I thought you did it every year.
I mean, I do, but I'm so bad with names. I'm going to be
Okay.
honest. I couldn't tell you
Fair enough.
their names. But, yeah. But I do still get tired after. Like, in the car ride back, I'm, like, maybe nodding off a little bit. What can I say?
Hey, understandable, but I'm trying to eat a roast turkey. That's all I'm thinking about.
Oh, okay. Let me rephrase mine. It's not like the traditional. You sit around a table. Your dad's
Okay.
cutting the turkey with the knife.
It's not like a Norman Rockwell painting.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's more non-traditional.
Interesting. Daniel, have you experienced this phenomenon?
The tryptophan, which isn't actually is not the reason. I've read somewhere. I'm not sure if that's true.
My Thanksgivings normally consist of just a basic meal, just your basic Thanksgiving meal, watching football.
Do you fall asleep afterwards?
No.
Wow.
Oh.
You're not eating enough then.
Yeah, I guess not.
Or you're not sleeping enough like I am. I bet if Chris were here, he'd vouch for me.
While we're on the subject, y'all think I would like to run my plan for fixing Thanksgiving football by you guys. What if we just, instead of having Dallas and Detroit play each other, the site alternates every year between their two home stadiums, and we can get 2 good games on.
Would it be the 11 game or the 3 game?
Oh, 11 for sure.
Okay. I think that's a good plan.
And then we can get a good game at 3, and then a good Thursday night football game.
I like that plan, because the Dallas and Detroit games, it seems like it's too much. It seems like it's too much to have 2 teams always get Thanksgiving. Those 2 Thanksgiving teams should play each other.
It's a tradition though. The Lions been doing it since 1934.
Well, they can keep doing it.
Just against the Cowboys every year.
Right.
Interesting.
No tradition's getting broken.
Well, I mean, I would say you're losing the home game on Thanksgiving for half the time.
Well, they always lose it anyway.
No, I mean like you're physically losing it from the city.
Well, they should have thought about that.
Should have thought about that before Daniel came and changed their plans.
Yes.
All right, we do have a little more football to talk about before we get out of here today, and of course some movie news I'd like to talk about as well. So we've got some 11 o'clock games, including Pittsburgh, who is looking to come back from a loss against Miami last week. We'll be heading to what I would say is a pretty easy game in Wallace-Wade Stadium in Durham against the Duke Blue Devils. Kenny Pickett has thrown for 2,800 yards and 26 touchdowns so far this season. So we might just see him in New York as well, alongside Kenneth Walker III.
That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, I think it'll be a cakewalk for him. I think that the third string will probably get in. Just a pretty easy game for him.
Another 11 o'clock game is a Big Ten matchup, Illinois versus Minnesota. This one's in Minnesota. Minnesota is having a sneaky good season behind the scenes after losing to Bowling Green early in the season. They have come back with a vengeance and are now 6-2 with just one Big Ten loss, looking to make it 7-2 this weekend against the Illini of Urbana-Champaign. 14.5-point line in this one for the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, I think Minnesota gets it done, and I don't think it'll be hard.
Liberty taking on Ole Miss in a Hugh Freeze reunion game. I don't know how this one will go, but I think Ole Miss might just run all over the Flames of LU.
I don't think Lane Kiffin is happy, and I think that he is going to take his anger out on Hugh Freeze.
Wake Forest, looking to stay undefeated, will be traveling to Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill against a 4-4 North Carolina team. North Carolina has a chance to make a statement after a disappointing season, and they are favored in this one by 2.5. Vegas does not like the Deeks.
I would like to see Wake Forest get humbled. I just have a personal agenda against Wake Forest, so seeing them lose would make me kind of happy.
Can we just get rid of the big noon kickoff game, because they have decided to pack up and head to Lincoln, Nebraska to watch Ohio State against Nebraska for the second straight year?
Their failed efforts to compete with game day are just kind of sad.
I think like the Barstool Show is doing better than them.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, because that's actually entertaining.
And then, last but not least, speaking of something that will not be entertaining, the Tigers of Missouri are being sent to Athens, Georgia, to take on the number one in the country, Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's favored by nearly 40 in this one. So when the line is approaching the same number as the over-under, you've got problems. And I think Missouri has problems here.
Yeah, they do. And there's not even a money line for this game. But I would, if someone were to take Missouri, I would be very, very... I would probably question their intelligence.
Or search their garage for a DeLorean.
Yeah, that.
They got the sports almanac. That's what you're saying.
That's right. Advanced joke. All right. Here's a article from the Daily Beast. Why the heck is Chris Pratt voicing every animated character?
I will say they're kind of catastrophizing because he's only
on
voicing
the one
two.
hand, Chris Pratt is a human being capable of speech. So on that front, he shouldn't run into any hurdles as he prepares to voice Garfield in a new film adaptation of the long-running comic strip. On the other hand, does he really have the range to voice the lasagna-loving, Monday-hating, feline nap enthusiast?
Does he? What do you think?
I think he could pull it off.
I mean, but like it'd just be Chris Pratt.
I know it'd be
being
like
Chris Pratt.
It'd be like Andy from Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
he's like lazy.
I mean, that's it.
He
But
likes
that's
pizza.
But he's also voicing Mario, which is the big issue there for a lot of people. Because it's just going to be Chris Pratt. Like, I don't think he can do many different voices.
What do you have evidence for that?
Have you ever seen him do another voice?
That's agna ignorantum. You can't use that.
Listen, in all of his voice acting roles and all his acting roles, he's done his voice. Like, he doesn't change it. I don't know if he has the range.
I mean, like Emmett from the Lego Movie, I would say was his normal voice, but I think there were moments in the Lego Movie where he would like show extreme emotion by changing his voice.
But yeah, that's acting. But is he going to be able to put on a Mario voice for 2 hours?
I don't think he's going to do like the Yahoo for 2 hours.
Is he going to?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I had to cough.
I don't think it's going to. I think they're going to. I mean, it's Universal. Like they're not going to like. It's going to be good.
The big thing with the Mario thing, well, first of all, it's the people that made Minions, so there's not a guarantee it's going to be good.
Minions isn't bad.
Yeah.
It's just for kids.
Don't use that argument on me. Why don't they just use the guy that plays Mario?
Charles?
Yes. Why just use him? He's voiced Mario for what, like 30 years?
He was probably busy.
I don't know if
he's not. He's in the movie. He's gonna be like a one-off character.
He's not a great actor though.
He voices in video games. If you can voice in video games, you can.
But all he says is like Yahoo.
There's games where he actually talks. But you're gonna get Chris Pratt to just go like, "Oh,
yes.
Oh, that Yoshi over there."
Barrels. So yeah, I'm excited about this Mario movie, despite the internet's attempts to make me not excited for it. I'm very excited for it. I was also a big fan of the Bill Murray Garfield movies, and I think if
those are fun.
If Bill Murray can voice Garfield, then I think Chris Pratt.
I'm not as worried about Garfield. I'm more worried about Mario. But it's just the fact that they keep casting him and everything now, even though it's only 2 things.
But what's next?
He's gonna.
I mean, I would like to rack my brain and think about what's next for Chris Pratt.
He's gonna voice Whitney Houston in a movie or something.
He's getting really busy. What movies are coming out? Like, what's just been announced? Do you go on Screen Rant? Is that?
I mean, I guess you could. Screen Rant's just like the TMZ of movie news.
Can we talk about Lightyear?
Oh, what if he's Buzz Lightyear?
It's Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear.
Man.
And then everybody, and then
they missed a real opportunity.
And then all the old folks on Twitter were mad that it wasn't Tim, whatever his name is, Tim Allen.
Well, I think it makes perfect sense since Chris Evans is voicing the guy that the toy is based on. Like, it's people lost their minds over nothing.
Well, yeah, it's old people on Twitter. They lose their minds over nothing all the time.
As someone who's a huge Toy Story and huge Buzz Lightyear enthusiast, I've dressed up as Buzz Lightyear for Halloween 7 times. I'm not ashamed of that at all. I can personally say, as Buzz Lightyear's #1 fan, that I don't care.
Well, we got it. We heard it here first.
Brendan Fraser is going to be in the new Batgirl show.
Yeah, he's going to be Firefly.
Movie show.
Yes, and he's also in it's a movie. Or wait, no, it's a show. HBO Max show.
Awesome.
And he's also in a movie where he plays like a 700-pound man or something, called it like The Whale Man or something.
He's also in Doom Patrol, which I've heard is very good.
Yeah, he's the robot.
It's like
you don't actually see his face.
It's like DC Avengers.
No.
It's like DC Suicide Squad.
It's like DC Doom Patrol because it is DC.
Great.
There you go.
Well, with that, we wish good luck to Chris Pratt and Brendan Fraser as they continue their resurgence into Hollywood with Chris Pratt in voice acting and Brendan Fraser just welcome back to Hollywood. So with that, we are going to leave you for today, and we will talk to you on Monday at 8 a.m. When we come back for Compact Discourse, hopefully talking about Auburn's big victory over Texas A&M on Saturday. And with that, I would like to thank Davis and Daniel for joining me on the show today. Any closing thoughts from you guys before we get out of here on a Thursday?
War Eagle.
You'll want to know.
War Eagle indeed. And with that, thank you so much for listening to another exciting episode of Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, however you joined us today, whether that be from your radio antenna from WeagleFM.com or by listening to our podcast. We would like to remind you that all of our previous episodes are available as a podcast, absolutely PSA break free, wherever you get your podcast. Just search for Compact Discourse, click on that orange and blue logo. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CDiscAU, at CDISCAU for links to the podcast, information about the show, and important updates. If you're listening to this after the fact, go ahead and tweet at us anyway. We'd love to hear from you. You can join Auburn's only student-run morning show in talking about whatever we talked about today. You might also want to visit the station, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at WEGL_AU. That's WEGL_AU. And you can get all the information about what's going on at the station, including Auburn stages tonight. Don't miss it. Adam Linhard on the Upper Quad Lawn. And with that, for Jack Hart, Davis Carroll, Daniel Logg, Bay Marks, Jacob Hillman, Grayson Moyer, Chris Tobias, everybody that joined me this week, we wish you a great rest of your Thursday, a great weekend. As always, War Eagle, go 1-0. And I'm Jack Hart, signing off for the week.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like